Alright, citizens one and all, welcome back to more Medieval Dynasty. We're going to go over some basics today. Now that there's been a couple more patches, we're kind of going to label it tips and tricks, how to start, what's smart to do, when to do. Done a little bit of gathering, we still have to chop a bunch of trees, but to start off with, follow the chapter missions. That's my first tip. Just finished chapter 7, it took me forever to get the Dynasty rep, but it's actually better to get that rep now. But in the journal, you can see here we are on chapter 1. Because I started a new save specifically for this. So definitely follow what the chapter guide says. So we're going to chop a couple trees and get this out of the way. We're actually kind of clearing some land. And then once this is done, we will go from there on what we're going to do next. A couple of unique things about the trees. I've noticed if you leave them as logs on the ground, they don't survive the season change. But if you leave them as trees, or even trees without sticks like that, they will survive the season change. So if you want to cut a bunch of trees and save them for later, absolutely do so. As far as crafting, Q is your crafting menu. As you can see, we can craft everything right now. But what we're going to start with is a house, and that is the big tip number 2, build a house as soon as you can. I like to put them near the edge of the road, kind of blend in. We chose a spot that's kind of midland this time. If you watch the live streams, we build over here, but I chose right here this time. There's still clay nearby over here. The cave, technically, I think, is the same distance as the other place. We're still near the main starter town, and best advice for a new player is to absolutely play close to the main starter town. See, we already made the hammer, so we're going to set that to number 2. And you can set these all to different things. So you can press F to assign a button, or you can just simply look at the item and assign a button. Then press F as well to have your torch equipped. So from there, we are going to build this up really quickly. Now the nice part about the starter house is pretty much what it tells you to gather is near enough to finish it. Like the 5 trees we cut, we're about to go finish cutting them and then use them on the starter house. Oh, and that leads us to another piece of advice. You drop feathers every time you cut a tree down. Feathers fall out of a tree, so save all those feathers, put them in your house, and save them. You will need them for making arrows, etc. later on. If you look at your house, this is another good little piece of advice. You can change the roof. Right now we're doing thatch. You can do wooden roof, which takes a lot of logs, or you can do wooden tile. This is just different styles. Thatch is the easiest to make. But you can even look at stuff like this, and we can be like, okay, no, we want the door over here instead, or we can make that a window if we so choose. So that's with E on the house, is you can change a little bit of the layout. I hope to see more of that in the future. As you can see, we have everything hotkeyed, and we've already almost used up 1 hammer. That will get better as we level up. And we are done with chapter 1. And now we're on to chapter 2. But this leads us on to another good tip. Always carry at least 3 wooden spears on you. If you don't like the spears, carry the bow. The bow is actually a bit better than it used to be. Boars will appear, bison will appear. They are all aggressive towards you, so are wolves and so are bears. So keeping at least 3 to 5 spears when you know you're out exploring is good. Yes, they do weigh quite a bit, but absolutely worth it. As far as water, I never carry a water bag, although you can carry a little like water skin. I don't. I just drink the creek, the river. Water bags are not worth it. So then it says stone knife. Okay, we can do that. As far as finding stones on the ground, still one of the trickiest things to do. I have a hard time finding them. Let's set a trap. Yep. Traps. Set this. You get about 3 uses out of this. Next thing you want to do is find a berry bush, equip something like an axe or a hammer. As you can see, with that out, like any of the items work. Axe, hammer, torch. So find a berry bush, pick all the berries, run back to town if town's close by, and sell all the berries. So that's what we're going to do right now, because the next big piece of advice is get crops day 1. You absolutely have time on the first day to set a 5x5 plot of something. Berries are a 1-to-1 sell, so 1 berry is 1 gold. Best way to make money right now, because you get between 3 and 5 berries per bush that you pick. So this is really good, easy money, early game, and this is what everybody does. This is what everybody says. Oh, go pick berries, go pick berries. Yes, I know, I'm picking berries. Here's proof. I'm picking the berries. When you set up your camp, Might have some berry bushes nearby. You're gonna have to choose when you set up your little village initially. Do you want to be near water? In this case, I did. The other village I built near clay because I want it to be near clay. You also have the option to set up your base closer to a cave. Caves are the only place to get iron currently, and iron is absolutely probably the most desired resource in the game. But if the devs are listening, please add gold and silver and copper and gemstones, other things to sell. Currently, the only way to get unstuck is press the unstuck button, but it puts you back at the starting point. So we're back where you spawn in, which technically isn't really any closer to the town, but if you're ever across the map, this spot is absolutely super useful. And the main reason I went this way to see it was to see if there were any other berry bushes close by. I'm not going to go way off target here. And speaking of which, we forgot we had a skill point in survival knowledge. I like to normally grab that first to unlock a couple of other things. So next we're going to get survival sense, which highlights things on the ground for you. I just eat the food that I spawn with to begin with. I don't make any food. You have enough food when you spawn in for like the first season. Now when you're in town, holding left alt is going to highlight every villager for you. It's going to show you who's a vendor, and in this case he's a vendor. So we're going to come over here and hey buddy, I got what you want. And there we go, 350 gold. And it just so happens that this is also what we need. Thank you, sir. We're going to buy 20 kilograms worth of manure. See you later. We're still a little overweight. I would traditionally say, like, once you get the resource building, save every single rock you get. You'll need them later on for the tier 3 structures. Blacksmith level 2 requires like 6 stone per panel. So we're going to just run back to camp. Next up, we're going to build a field. You can see we have about a third of the day left. We can't find flax seeds. The next best choice is going to be carrots, I think, although they take 2 seasons. Let's see here. Anything? Oh, okay. Goodbye. Honestly, cabbages is the absolute best choice, but we won't worry about that, okay? Yeah, let's do onions, actually, because that's good eating. With the onions, you can make the onion stew. Thankfully, you don't need a lot of technical stuff yet. You just need like raw meat and onions, and you can make like a onion soup or something. I forget what entirely. Even with this first crop, you can just sell them. Doesn't matter. Get the crops in the ground day one is what I like to do. Build near some trees. Where I built, actually, there's not a lot of trees around, and that's led to a lot of problems with me having enough resources early on to do what I need to do. Pick up 2 for now. We'll make this. We'll get the crops in the ground, and that will be day 1. And then from there, that's when the game really begins. All right, we built the knife. Q, building, farming, field. So let's see. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That may be a bit bigger. So at this point, yes, we have to kill an animal to get a bag, or we might go buy a bag. I don't know. Okay, so starting with the hoe. Here we go. Let's set the field. Now this gives skill points. There's quite a few things that give skill points. We're going to have to kill an animal to get this done. I just realized that. There we go. So the way you plant seeds is you first need a bag. We'll get that done, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to have to hunt something. There we go. And that's an unlock. That's technology. We unlocked something very important. We unlocked the food storage rank 1, and you need that to even have villagers. So that is perfect. That's what we get from working on the farm. Awesome. Then once this is plowed like this, the edges go away. You have your first field. Now we need to run off and find a deer. Number 1 is we're going to light this campfire here. I want the light, the ambient light. Number 2, we're going to stash the log, stash the rocks, stash the manure. So a quick animal kill and some leather. I'm hoping to find a pig. So when you hunt with spears, you have to be really careful. And another good tip, you don't actually have to sleep. I normally sleep on live stream because it's live and I want people to be able to see. Now, most of the small animals, wolves, deer, boar, and fox, and rabbits, you can kill in one hit if you hit them in the face. Deer are a little skittish, as we are finding out. But once you get a little bit higher level, you'll be able to sneak better. And you'll be able to see the animals when you hold left alt. Should be right over here. I think we got it this time. So we're holding left trigger or left control to crouch. Aim a little bit up. There we go. All right, that's our leather. Now, best advice I would have is if you see an animal, sooner kill it because you'll need the leather. With the leather, you then make a simple bag. We'll run back down. You can still see our house on the compass there. Only when you're close to your house, etc., does it show up on that. The last really big tip for like how to start, how to really get going on getting day one farm good to go. Because number one, you're always going to need crops. You can't live without some kind of crop coming in. Up until recently, when you made your field, you didn't need to put the poo on it, but now you have to have poo every time. Always do all the field work until you have the pigsty unlocked. So what we're starting with is manure. Be careful when you put this down. And again, this is why I wish that we could have more than one thing equipped. Let's make it daylight again, because it's getting too dark. So we're working on spreading the manure. I think we can now sleep. Yes, we can. Day 2. Even though I would have liked to get it done on day 1. And you can, but I am rambling and all over the place, so. But typically, yeah, day 1, you want the crops in the ground, because now we're burning time on day 2. And we would have had that stuff done day 1, except I turned it to daytime so we could see. Because it was getting a little too dark for me to even render out. And you have to do this every time you replant crops. I personally think it's a little too tedious. I think putting down poo once a year, plenty. But oh well, what can I do about it, you know? So now after you do the poo, you have to then hoe again. So first you break the ground, break the field ground open, then you hoe. Once you put the manure down. So, and then after this, we will be able to place our seeds. I am just now realizing I don't think I bought enough, but that is okay. As you can see, we just got the barn unlocked. Next is the hen house. Then after that is the pigsty, and the drive here is to get to the pigsty as quickly as possible so you can have the manure being made. And I would absolutely advise your first villager be put into the pigsty after you buy a pig so you can have free manure coming in. But to do that, you need the food building, and you need the resource shed, and you need the food shed, and you need a house, and then you can have a village. So once we're done with this, day 2, normally I would go see Sambor, do the mission for Unagast. But what we're going to do is we're going to plant our 20 onion seeds. Now be careful with this, don't actually miss like I had been doing. Onions right there. And then that's it. So again, you break the ground, you put down manure, you till the ground again with the hoe, then you plant the seeds, and then you're done. So typically that takes a full day. If you have more than one field, you'll take even longer. Especially when you're newer and you have minimal skill, it takes a long time. Once you get a couple of skill points in, it's a lot better. But there's even skills that lessen how many seeds you need. There we go, there's another level of farming. They actually improved that quite a bit. No, we got a point here. So, reduces seeds, those are good, but do farming knowledge first. The reason why? Because then you'll level faster. You get 2 points instead of 1. So absolutely necessary. So, as you can see, we did make an oopsie here. We only got 20 seeds, it looks like. And we're going to deposit this meat for now. Save all your meat until you have the carrots or the onions. So now at this point, we just have to survive the season. One other big helpful tip, let's see if we can find any. There's an herb that spawns that heals you, but it's really hard to find early on unless you have the thing that highlights it, which we have not gotten yet. And oh, look at this. See, yeah, there's some clay right here. This is why we decided to build right here. Lots of clay. A lot of clay. And for your first playthrough, I really do suggest staying close to the main town, because that unstuck feature is not going to work forever. I would kind of suggest staying close to the main town until the mount riding is in the game. That's supposed to be added at some point. So what we're looking for is an herb, survival sense. It would actually highlight it for us, but I don't think we're going to get that just yet. So the St. John's wort is good for poison. There we go. Holy cow. So now we can do this. Survival sense. Day 1, you should be able to unlock it. Now left alt shows exactly what we need. Man, that was painful. As you can see, these are hard to find. So broadleaf plantains. We'll grab a few and then we'll open inventory. This is the last thing. They heal 10 health per. So if you get mauled by a wolf, make sure to have some of those on you. I would try and find some immediately. But let's get back down the hill here. Looks like we need to eat something. I'll be glad when they put the fruit trees into the game too. We're going to call it there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say a special thank you to all my active subscribers and citizens. Really much appreciated. Citizens, in this case, our channel members. Really appreciate y'all. If you're new here, make sure to drop a sub, hang around. In the meantime, guys, I'm going to call it here. Again, this is just a basic what to do day one. I think this is improved upon our initial what to do day one, so we're going to just say this is kind of tips and tricks, different things that you see day one. Y'all take care and enjoy Medieval Dynasty.